You are already building something. Maybe you know what it is, but also maybe you've never stopped to think about it that way. But every decision you make, every dollar you spend, every hour you give, everything you say yes and no to is going toward something. A life, a family, a version of yourself you're moving toward or away from. If you're a parent, you've already built the most extraordinary thing imaginable, a human life. You did that. So the real question isn't whether or not you're building something. You already are. The question is, do you know what it is that you're building? My name is Vincent. This is Present Tense Finance, and today we're going to figure out what you're actually building. Several years ago, I was living with a roommate who started building something. I honestly can't even remember what it was. But as I watched him work, there was something inside of me that wanted in. So I asked if I could build something too. And what I ended up building was a coat rack. I cut the wood, I sanded the pieces, I screwed everything together. It was not beautiful. It was honestly a little janky. But when I stepped back and looked at it, this thing that had not existed before and now exists because of me, I felt something that I wasn't expecting. Joy. Quiet, simple joy. Not because it was impressive, but because it was mine. Because I made it. Because it held coats. That's the thing about building something. The product doesn't have to be perfect to be worth building. The coat rack didn't need to be beautiful. It just needed to hold coats. And that it did. Here's where money comes into play. Most of us think about our finances in terms of the final finished product. I need to get out of debt. I need to save more. I need to stop living paycheck to paycheck. These are all products, endpoints, destinations, things we want to be true someday. And there's nothing wrong with naming them. You should know what you're building toward. But here's what I've noticed. When we only focus on the future, we lose the thread. Because a product is in the future, and the future is abstract. And abstract goals don't tell you what to do on a Tuesday when you're tired and your account is lower than what you wanted. Process, however, does. The coat rack is the product. The afternoon building it is the process. It's the cutting and the sanding and the screwing together. It's not glamorous. It's not impressive from the outside. But what it does is that it actually produces the thing. And what I've found, both in my own life and in working with other people, is that the reason most of us don't have a process is not laziness. It's because something is in the way. Some feeling that we haven't named yet. Sometimes it's fear. If I look too closely at the numbers, I'll find out the product is impossible. Sometimes it's shame. I should already have figured this out. And sometimes it's fog. I want to build something, but I just don't know what to build or where to start. Whatever it is for you, the emotion comes first, always. You can't build clearly when you can't see clearly. And you can't see clearly when a certain feeling is in the way. So here's the question I want you to sit with today. And that question isn't, what do you want? Because that can feel too big, too far away. Instead, I want you to ask, what are you actually building right now? Not someday, right now, with the decisions that you're actually making. If you're a parent, part of what you're building is already clear. You're building a life that works for someone who depends on you. That's not abstract. It's immediate. And your financial processes should reflect that. And if you're building towards something else, stability, freedom, a version of yourself that isn't fully realized yet, name it. Name it loosely, name it imperfectly. Then ask a second question. What is your process? Not a plan, not a goal, a process. Something that you actually do regularly that moves the pieces forward. If the answer is yes, even a janky, imperfect yes, you're further along than you think. If the answer is no, or I don't know, or I've tried and something keeps stopping me, that's not a failure. That's just information, and that's where the work starts. The Coatrack didn't require perfect woodworking. It only required showing up, cutting the wood, and screwing it together. Likewise, your financial process doesn't need to be elegant or immaculate. It just needs to work for your life, for your specific, particular, nobody else has this life. That's it. That's the whole thing. Before you close this video, what are you building? If you know, hold on to it. Write it down somewhere it won't disappear. If you don't know yet, that's okay. Not knowing is a starting point also. What I want you to notice is whether something came up while you were sitting with that question. Some resistance. Some feeling that made the question harder to answer than it should be. Because that feeling is usually the thing that's been running the show without your permission. And if you want to look at that together, if you want to figure out what you're building and start putting together a real process in place, the link to book a free 30-minute discovery call is in the description. No pressure, just a conversation about what's actually possible for your specific life. Because what you build doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be yours. I'll see you in the next one.